Hello, New Packaging Corporation of America candidates. Thank you for having me back today. As a reminder, my name is Margaritta Fultz, and I am the lead consultant for organizational training and development design and change management interventions. I'm here with you as you are an integral part of your organization's fiscal health, success, and sustainability. You will also hit the ground running by providing strategies and interventions for organizational personnel motivation, well-being, and safety at work. We anticipate that you'll create performance evaluations and address retention issues. Allow me to give you a brief introduction to organizational socialization and the functional role of this process in your onboarding over the next 12 months. In our last few onboarding sessions, you received a comprehensive orientation with information on parking, accessing the building, where leadership team members are located, where HR professionals keep business hours on site and virtually, details on payroll, benefit enrollment, accommodations, resources, leave time, and training opportunities. You've gotten acclimated to the specifics on the layout of your workspace, as well as knowing where to find the people you will collaborate with the most. This, of course, is a part of your being socialized to the Packaging Corporation of America. As you know who to reach, how to reach them, where they are, and various ways to contact the leadership team, HR, and line managers. Effective organizational socialization goes further than people, places, and resources here at PCA. Much of the information you need as you have joined the IOP team may be found in the website directory. Each of you has been hired with subject matter expertise in various areas: strategic organizational planning, human factors, change management, and such. PCA's people-centered onboarding allows for in-depth organizational socialization. The anatomy of organizational socialization relies on 5 pillars: being connected, consistent and clear dialogic communication, organizational cultural awareness, role clarification, and compliance. The pillars allow you to rely on focused priority areas to become indoctrinated with how your professional role interacts and engages with PCA leaders and managers. Let's begin an interactive dialogue on the importance of these pillars. The PCA culture is positive with a few exceptions. IOPs should create interventions for an organizational communication plan, enhancing work equity so employees do not feel overworked, prioritize time off and employee well-being, and team accountability so that managers and employees share accountability. Teamwork will be a byproduct of change management that is people-centered. When you take care of people, people drive for performance. Overall, PCA's work culture can be characterized as a business that pays fair compensation and knows how to drive revenue, but where people and employee satisfaction is becoming increasingly problematic, which will eventually manifest in increased turnover, deteriorating team performance, and low productivity. Connecting with a mentor is imperative. Your connections must be formalized, intentional, and accessible. Each of you has a leadership team member who will be meeting with you bi-weekly over the next 6 months to have formal discussions on your current projects, discuss your timeline for these projects, and ensure that you have the accommodations and resources to drive success. This allows for psychosocial support that you will need to build relationships with these managers, also with HR and with PCA stakeholders. Your mentor will encourage you, provide psychosocial and emotional support, and as you are an IOP, rely on your expertise for executive coaching for their effective leadership. Unlike traditional mentor-mentee relationships, where only the mentor is in a position of power, you have the power to provide evidence-based suggestions that align with your mentor leader's vision for PCA and to affect change. Let's talk about connection with the IOP team. As new members of the existing PCA IOP team, each of your interpersonal relationships has the potential to build a foundation and predict team performance. If you are intentional, schedule time to brainstorm and meet regularly, and provide ongoing feedback to each other on projects, your team will very likely be strong. But if you don't formally and intentionally build these relationships, your team dynamic and team accountability is threatened and may be lost. Think of your IOP team as the group of subject matter experts that you are. PCA has recruited you to work on human factors, change management, and conflict resolution to beat out the competition. You all have the KSAs to make that a reality, but brainstorming, meeting, and communicating consistently is essential. Over the next 20 minutes, I want you to pull up the PCA Outlook calendar on your laptop. We're going to use this scheduling tab to see which day is feasible for the PCA IOP team to meet. As you copy and paste the email list from your team into the scheduling tab, it will become clear which meeting time is best for your collective. The email list for each new PCA industrial organizational psychologist will autocomplete as you key PCA IOPs at pca.net. As a community leader in Springfield, Illinois, I'm a subject matter expert on building interpersonal networks for community and civic engagement. When we organize people by leveraging interpersonal networks for grassroots efforts, it requires active listening, hearing what the issues and problems are from individuals in the community, and brainstorming with them to provide feedback to each other with plausible solutions. As a PCA-IO psychologist, your active listening skills and appreciative inquiry skills will serve you well. You also have the existing data that lives in human resources, institutional data, and industry data to rely on to evidence your suggestions for interventions. Building interpersonal networks and connecting through interpersonal networks are two different processes. Building and connecting, two different things. Building requires the listening and appreciative inquiry I mentioned. Connecting requires scheduling time with those who you have already built a relationship with. Let's take some time out to discuss some of your existing interpersonal networks in the interest of sharing this space equitably. Each of you has 2 minutes to go around this table and talk about interpersonal networks with which you already belong. Let's talk about connecting through interpersonal networks. Monthly, you will work with HR to ensure you have access to the Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology counterparts with whom work in manufacturing industries. This will ensure you are connected with insider industry trends that have the potential to impact Packaging Corporation of America's bottom line. You will use this information to report out to the leadership team and your mentor those issues within the industry PCA may need to pivot or flex to maintain or improve their organizational rank. So again, monthly, you will want to connect through your networks. The industry blogs that offer chat options, industry organizations, individuals with whom you have introduced or been introduced through your mentor, and certainly keeping communication consistent with everyone you see in this onboarding session today. You should all have each other's virtual business card on your PCA smartphone and have a set day and time to check in with each other between team meetings. There really isn't much to reiterate about communication. This is the pillar that is embedded in the other four pillars. Without 360-degree dialogic communication and a feedback loop confirming your mentor-mentee relationship is healthy, your IOP team interpersonal relationships are engaging and interactive, and your industry interpersonal networks are thriving, organizational socialization does not materialize. It is through optimized, consistent communication that you become socialized to PCA culture, the industry, and your role here. Your role clarification is a result of quality, engaged, and vibrant interpersonal relationships with your mentor, the IOP team, HR, line managers, and industry and stakeholder interpersonal networks. You can count on your role at PCA being a role in which you should be agile and can pivot based on packaging manufacturing demands, internal conditions within the organization changing, retirements, or changes in the U.S. economy. As IO psychologists, we should not get too comfortable with a static occupational role as change is imminent. So we must embrace it for sustainable success and performance with change management. Being socialized at PCA pertaining to compliance means getting familiar with industry standards. Line management represents the subject matter experts on legal, governmental, and industrial compliance. Build your interpersonal networks to include PCA line management so that you always have current information on how to do business, design training, and provide oversight for the safety and well-being of our teams while avoiding crises and litigation. As IO psychologists, we should always rely on what we know of ergonomics, work-life balance, and workplace safety to ensure PCA teams can rely on us for having any physical accommodations needed to be successful that align with ADA compliance, Americans with Disabilities Act, and all other work modifications and flexibility for protected classes. New parents should have areas in which they can nurse their infants. Individuals with mobility issues should be supported with modifications to office space, manufacturing station space, and optimized accessibility. In our Turning Point Live polling survey, we were able to see that you have communication expectations that align with PCA leadership and can be confident in receiving feedback necessary for success in a timely manner. This kind of sets up a baseline on what your expectations are. You anticipate how to approach your first work projects and know with whom to meet with first. And you know where to find reliable resources to do your job well within the first 90 days, as well as with whom to consult to confirm next steps. Rely on your time spent today to use the map contained in your PCA Onboarding Session 3 document to complete your organizational socialization checklist. Each item under the 5 pillars on the checklist is an opportunity to rate this training. Feel free to reach out to me by email, phone, or schedule a one-on-one with me for any areas you do not feel were adequately discussed during our training. Remember, consistent quality communication is key for successful people-centered socialization, which is a significant part of your 12-month onboarding at PCA. Here's my contact information, and I thank you for your time.